If you want some insight on what core developers may do to wrap their heads around a hardware platform they are working on, Pierco has posted a tweet that talks about a diagram he created for the rendering of the Jotego Mega System 1 hardware. This hardware runs many games, but the specific game he's working on it for now is Rodland. This is an action platformer where you take control of a fairy with a magical rod that you use to clear levels of enemies. Pierco also rewrote from scratch the core's rendering system for sprites and backgrounds and got really good results. And later in the week, Pierco posted a playable beta of Rodland for Patreon subscribers. Other games that run on the Jotego Mega System 1 core are Saint Dragon, 64th Street, A Detective Story, and the Astyanax. The PlayStation core is getting more and more accurate thanks to the developer's accuracy tests. All of the tests for the GTE timings are matching the results of a real PlayStation. The GTE, also known as the Geometry Transform Engine, is a coprocessor for the original PlayStation that quickly performs math operations that speed up 3D graphics. Tests like these will help with getting more games running accurately and can help homebrew devs use the PSX core as a development environment for testing. Later on in the week, Robert Pipe has reported on even more bug fixes. In Evil Dead: Hail to the King, you can now leave the inventory and play the game. Another bug fix had to do with graphical glitches that some titles were suffering from. The glitches are now gone and the games affected are Tomba 2, Elemental Gearbolt, Akuji the Heartless, Gex 2 and 3, and Jumping Flash 3. And finally, SPU improvements help fix hangs and misadventures of Trombone. Street Fighter 1 wasn't working because of an issue with the MCU. However, Attract17 and Darren O identified the issue and notified Jotego. Now, Street Fighter 1 is working and playable. Jotego has also made some progress with PCB extraction. The schematics from Capcom Bowling have been completed and will be available on GitHub. Afterwards, PCB extraction for Gunbird 2 has begun. It also looks like the PCB extraction workflow is improving with all the experience gained. Jotego has also added some new games for Patreon subscribers to the Capcom/Mitchell core. This is the core that is currently running Pang and Super Pang. Games added are Capcom World, Dokuben, and Block Block. Capcom World is a trivia game that features characters from different Capcom games. Dokuben is a baseball game based on a manga series of the same name. This wasn't your standard baseball game and was played by using a deck of random cards. And Block Block is a game that plays similar to Breakout and Arkanoid. With the exception of Block Block, you will most likely have a difficult time playing these new games if you don't read Japanese. The arcade game Megumi Rescue was added to the Sega Master System core by Grey Rogue. You may be wondering, why is an arcade game being made to run on the Sega Master System core? This is because support for Sega's System E arcade hardware was added to the Sega Master System core. The System E arcade board was a Master System with a better video display processor, so the MiSTer core was made compatible with it. This new game is a very rare arcade game that was just recently dumped and emulated, and now we can play it on the MiSTer FPGA. Games based on Irem's M72 hardware are coming, starting with Dragon Breed. This was confirmed by Attract17, who is working closely with Darren O to get the system up and running. Other games that run on the same hardware include R-Type, Ninja Spirit, Image Flight, Legend of Hero Tomna, and others. Many companies are releasing mini consoles or mini arcades for their hit hardware and software. Taito is amongst one of these companies with their Egret II Mini arcade cabinet. To go along with their mini cabinet, Taito also released extra controllers for it. One of those controllers had a trackball and spinner. Now, thanks to the Epsilon, there is preliminary support for the Egret II spinner when you play Arkanoid. A binary is provided in the MiSTer FPGA Discord that needs to replace the current MiSTer binary. This is only a test build, so other functions for MiSTer might be adversely affected. So make sure you back up your main MiSTer binary before you test this one. Games like Arkanoid really need a spinner to get the most enjoyment out of them. A very helpful resource when shopping for controllers for your MiSTer FPGA is MiSTer Add-ons Input Latency Results. This is a database of controller lag tests. You can search for a specific controller, connection type, and see what kind of controller lag you can expect. While there are currently a lot of controllers already in the database, you can help out by testing your own controller if it's not currently in the database, or verify the results of a controller you have that's already in the database. Zez Retro has a video that shows you how to perform these lag tests yourself with an Arduino controller. Check the video out if you're interested in performing these lag tests. There is currently a MiSTer test build with support for variable refresh rate in the MiSTer FPGA Discord. This was developed by Zach4223. Variable refresh rate is a technology that syncs the refresh rate of your display to the refresh rate of the application that's running. For example, let's use the refresh rate of 60 Hz that's widely used in today's displays. So if your display is set to 60 Hz and your game is running at a locked 60 Hz, there's going to be no issues because the game is in sync with your display. However, if a game is fluctuating its frame rate to move above or below 60 Hz, then that can introduce screen tearing and frame rate stutters. Displays with variable refresh rate support will make your display match the frame rate to whatever the game is running at, even if it drops below or goes above 60 Hz, eliminating any screen tearing and stutters without having to resort to VSync, which will result in input lag. Now, why is this important for MiSTer? Well, console, computer, and arcade hardware can run at weird refresh rates. For example, Mortal Kombat in the arcades runs at 53.2 Hz. If you run the game on a 60 Hz display, you will experience frame rate stutters, sound stutters, and screen tearing. You can force the game to run at 60 Hz, however, that will make the game run faster. Now, with this MiSTer test build and a display that supports variable refresh rate, if there was a Mortal Kombat core, it would be able to run at the proper 53.2 Hz refresh rate. I can see the AO486 core benefiting from this. A common resolution used for DOS games was 320 by 240 at 70 Hz. Also, the Game Boy and Super NES systems didn't run at exactly 60 Hz. And other miscellaneous MiSTer fixes and updates are, for the ZX Spectrum core and Amstrad cores, there was a minor update of T80, and the frameworks were updated. For the Sega Master System core, an option to use your controller's X-axis as the paddle input was added. This addition is thanks to Bellwood 420. Aspect ratio was set to 4:3 for Game Gear by Birdie Bro. TurboCo added a new extended Game Gear resolution option, and the framework was updated. For the Super NES core, fixes to the SPC have been made by Birdie Bro. Miracle Piano support was added by Grey Rogue, an MSU1 audio boost option was added, and MSU1 volume was normalized, and the framework was updated. For the Genesis and Mega CD cores, PSG and FM sound modules were updated. Birdie Bro re-added the ladder effect to FM. PAL timings were fixed in the Mega CD core thanks to Retro Repair. Grey Rogue added Miracle Piano support to the Genesis core, and the framework was updated. Also, please try to support Sorg, the maintainer of the MiSTer project, and other MiSTer developers and contributors on their Patreons or other support platforms they may be on. Their hard work allows us to enjoy this amazing project. So that's it for this episode. I provided links to all my sources in the description. Make sure you also check out RetroRGB.com to see my MiSTer news videos in blog form and to get more retro related content, and if possible, support them on Patreon too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.